A homeowner in Ontario completed an $85,000 kitchen renovation. 6 months later, a water leak caused $40,000 in damage to the newly renovated space. When they filed a claim, their insurer denied it. The reason was a single phone call the homeowner never made. Before starting a major renovation, most Canadian home insurance policies require you to notify your insurer. The homeowner didn't know. And that one omission voided the coverage on the exact space they had just rebuilt. I've spent nearly a decade working inside the Canadian insurance industry. In this video, I'm going to walk through the 4 renovation mistakes that can void or limit your home insurance coverage, and the 4 calls that prevent all of them. Renovation is one of the largest financial events in a homeowner's life. Most homeowners treat it as a construction project. Underwriters treat it as a risk event. Those two perspectives are not the same, and the gap between them is where claims get denied. The 4 mistakes I'm going to walk through are not obscure technicalities. They are standard provisions in most Canadian home insurance policies. Most homeowners have never read them. Mistake 1. Not notifying your insurer. Most home insurance policies in Canada contain a material change in risk clause. This clause requires the policyholder to notify their insurer of any change that materially affects the risk being insured. A renovation that changes the structure of the home, updates the electrical or plumbing, adds square footage, or significantly alters the property may qualify as a material change under many standard policies. In many policies, the obligation to notify is a condition of coverage. The practical consequence of not notifying is that the insurer can deny a claim on the grounds that the risk was materially changed without disclosure. This is a documented cause of claim denial in the Canadian insurance market. The notification does not have to be complicated. A phone call to your broker or insurer before work starts, describing the scope of the renovation, is sufficient. The insurer may adjust your premium, add an endorsement, or issue a builder's risk certificate. All of those outcomes are better than a voided claim. Mistake 2. Triggering the vacancy clause without knowing it. Many homeowners move out during major renovations. A gut renovation, a structural addition, or an extended project may make the home temporarily uninhabitable. Most standard home insurance policies in Canada contain a vacancy clause that limits or eliminates coverage after the home has been unoccupied for a specified period. Typically 30 to 60 days depending on the insurer and province. The clause exists because vacant properties carry higher risk. No one to notice a water leak, a fire, a break-in, or a structural issue. When a home becomes vacant, the risk profile changes significantly. The consequence: if you move out during a renovation, do not notify your insurer, and a loss occurs during the vacancy period, the insurer may deny the claim on the grounds that the vacancy clause was triggered and never disclosed. The fix: call your insurer before you vacate. Ask specifically about the vacancy clause and whether you need to provide notice or obtain a temporary endorsement to maintain coverage during the renovation period. Some insurers will maintain coverage with notification. Others require a specific vacancy permit. Either way, the call costs nothing, and the coverage it protects may cost tens of thousands. Mistake 3. The contractor liability gap. A homeowner who hires a contractor is allowing a third party to work on their property. If that contractor does not carry their own liability insurance and someone is injured on site during the renovation, the homeowner may be personally exposed to the liability claim. Standard home insurance policies include liability coverage, but that liability coverage is designed for incidents arising from the homeowner's use of the property, not from the activities of an uninsured third-party contractor. The gap can be significant. The fix: before any contractor begins work, ask them to provide a certificate of insurance confirming their general liability coverage. A legitimate contractor will have this. One who does not should not be on your property. This takes one email or one phone call and costs nothing. Mistake 4. Unpermitted renovation work. In most Canadian municipalities, structural renovations, electrical upgrades, plumbing modifications, and additions require building permits. Permits exist to ensure the work meets safety and building code standards. Unpermitted renovation work creates an insurance problem because if a claim arises from a renovated area and the work was not permitted, the insurer can argue that the work was not code compliant and therefore not covered under the standard policy. This matters most when a claim occurs. An insurer conducting a post-claim investigation will look for permits. Unpermitted work discovered at that point may give the insurer grounds to limit or deny the claim, particularly if the unpermitted work contributed to the loss. Pull the permits before the work starts. It costs a small fee and takes a day. The coverage it protects may be worth far more. Here is the reframe. A renovation is not just a construction project. From an underwriting perspective, it is a risk event, a period during which the property's risk profile changes, the occupancy may change, third parties are on site, and the standard coverage assumptions may no longer apply. The homeowners who navigate a renovation without a coverage gap are not the ones with the most expensive contractors or the most detailed renovation plans. They are the ones who made 4 phone calls before the first nail was hammered. Here is what that looks like in practice. A homeowner planning a $60,000 bathroom and kitchen renovation calls their insurer the week before work starts. The insurer notes the renovation, issues a temporary builder's risk endorsement, and flags that the vacancy clause applies if the home is unoccupied for more than 45 days. The homeowner arranges to check in on the property weekly. The renovation runs for 3 months. A pipe bursts in the 3rd month. The claim is approved in full because the insurer knew about the renovation before it started. 4 calls to make before any major renovation starts. Call 1. Notify your insurer. Describe the scope of the renovation or what is being done, what contractors are involved, and the timeline. Ask whether the renovation constitutes a material change in risk and what documentation they need. Call 2. Ask about the vacancy clause. If you plan to vacate the home during any part of the renovation, ask specifically whether you need to provide notice or obtain a temporary endorsement to maintain coverage during the renovation period. Call 3. Ask whether you need a builder's risk endorsement. For major renovations, a standard home insurance policy may not cover construction-related damage. A builder's risk endorsement fills that gap. Ask whether your insurer offers it and what it costs. Call 4. Verify contractor insurance. Before any contractor begins work, request a certificate of insurance confirming their general liability coverage. File it with your renovation documents. The renovation mistake that voids home insurance coverage is almost never deliberate. It is a gap between what the homeowner assumed was covered and what the policy actually required. 4 calls before the renovation starts closes that gap entirely. Notify the insurer, ask about vacancy, ask about builder's risk, and verify contractor insurance. None of those calls take more than 15 minutes. The renovation they protect may cost tens or hundreds of thousands of dollars. If you found this useful, subscribe. I publish one of these every week. Everything I cover comes from nearly a decade working inside the Canadian insurance industry. The free homeowner checklist is in the description. It covers the property risk factors underwriters look at before pricing or renewing a policy, including the renovation questions worth asking before any significant work starts. See you next week.